Hi, this is going to be one of a very short series of videos that talk about how COVID-19 and the economic concepts we are talking about in class directly relate to each other. Um, so let's get right into it. One of the fundamental concepts in economics that we learned from Chapter 1 involves making choices and the reality that you have to give up something when you make a choice. Recently, the federal government passed a $2.2 trillion relief package. And just to put that in perspective, I thought it'd be interesting to see what we could get out of that $2.2 trillion if we spent it on some other kinds of things. For example, if we were to build more state-of-the-art hospital beds, those beds cost about $1.5 million each. If we were to take all of that $2.2 trillion and spend it just on hospital beds, we could afford 1.4 million, over 1.4 million hospital beds. That's a lot of hospital beds. Now, we could also maybe give every citizen in the country money. So let's say we gave every citizen in the country, or we started handing out checks for citizens of $6,728 each. We could afford to give 327 million checks, which is roughly the size of the entire U.S. population. We could give 327 million $6,728 checks. So those that $500 per child, or was it $1,400 per household? That's nothing. We could give all of this money to individual households, individual people in the household. So if you have 5 people in your household, you're talking about over $30,000 to each household. But that's not what we're spending the money on. We could build a whole bunch of fancy NFL stadiums, and I mean super fancy, like the one in LA. It's about, I think they estimated around $5 billion. We could build 440 fancy NFL stadiums, so every team could have one, and actually every team could have a lot. They could have well, let's do the calculation here. They could each have almost 14 stadiums each. But that's not what we're spending the money on either. What if we built 1 megawatt solar farm? Each megawatt costs to construct about $4 million. We could build 550,000 of these solar farms around the country and maybe cut down on the amount of pollution that we emit. Just use solar energy. So we could power a lot of the cities of the country by building these solar farms using $2.2 trillion. Or we could hire more K-12 teachers. We could hire them for 50 years, so that's going to cost about $3 million per teacher. That's just their salary. We could hire 733,330 K-12 teachers for 50 years if we spent $2.2 trillion on education. So this just gives you an idea about what's the trade-off that we're talking about here when we decide to spend $2.2 trillion on the economy, and what we have to give up as a result. That's the basic notion of opportunity cost.